Hi, welcome to today's episode of Coach in Business. Today we will talk about coaching with big data, coaching with data, with available data in the digital world. Um, why coaching with big data? Data is another element of information gathering about yourself. So basically, you know best and you know the most about yourself, but the data is actually able to display what is really happening in your life, and there is a possibility to extract data from different platforms, and extract insights from this data. So what we are going to do is we'll describe what data is available, and then try to describe how to provide an action plan about um, how to use the data for improving your own well-being. How you will benefit from coaching with big data. So, from getting into a coaching relationship with me and using data available about you for your own improvement process. Basically, you will learn which areas you have where you can improve. So the data will show you where you can actually improve and where the biggest uplifts are possible. You will learn how to use which data sets, how to choose data sets for specific areas of your life. So there are specific data sets for your social, for displaying your social behavior. There are specific data sets for displaying your eating behavior. There are specific data sets for displaying your, I don't know, sports behavior. There are specific data sets for displaying your where you have been behavior. Um, Basically, this is what you will learn by in a coaching relationship with me. The next question is, how will you be able to then use the data for your self improvement? My service will provide you with a fully automated dashboard where fully automated insights will be generated for you, so that you will know where to start acting um, for improving yourself. And of course, hopefully at the end, coaching with big data. So my service as a coach, as a psychologist, in improving your life with the help of data will help you in your social life, in your eating behavior, in your sports behavior, etc. Um, well, why should we use data? Um, why should we go into the efforts of using data, of looking out for data, of cleaning up data, etc. Well, the first reason is because it will show us moments of failure and success. Again, you as a person, you are the one who knows best, who knows most about yourself, but sometimes we as humans are not as self-sensitive. We underlie biases. This means that sometimes we don't want to acknowledge that something's going wrong, and data will be able to identify moments of success and failure. So where have I been doing good things, where have I been doing bad things? The second plan is we will be able to identify effects of our actions. So the question is, what if I change my eating behavior? What if I stop interacting with my best friend? What if I stop calling somebody? What if I do not visit a specific town anymore because they are friends of mine? What will happen to my mental health, to B, my physical health? What if I stop eating specific stuff? For example, the tennis player Novak Djokovic stopped eating gluten, and after stopping eating gluten, he started winning his, I don't know what he has right now, like 15 Grand Slam titles. So there are specific effects, and based on data, we will be able to identify those effects, and we will be able to, yes, basically plan introducing new habits into our life. The second reason is a more general reason. You will raise self-awareness of what is happening in your life, and what is happening in your life in exchange with the environment you are in. So basically, you are not a standalone product. You are not living mostly in woods, in the forest, by yourself. You are interacting with the environment, with people, with anything which you come in contact with. So data will help to understand how this interaction goes and where areas of improvement are. Well, what is big data in coaching with big data? Basically, it means gathering, aggregating, and interpreting all aspects of one's life by or with the help of data. In general, there is a movement, it's called self-quantification. So if you look up self-quantification at Google, you will find many articles, many things about big data, about improving with the help of big data. My service and what I'm talking about here is it goes beyond self-quantification. So what I'm doing is coaching with the help of self-quantification, with the help of big data. So my service is offering you a kind of assistance in A, the process of self-quantification, and B, the process of using insights for your self-development. Well, what data is available is the next question. What we do is we can distinct between two main categories. The first one is self-recorded data. It means that you don't have to do anything despite wearing some kind of wearable, some kind of mobile device in order to record data. The second one is self-reported data. So the second category means that you have to proactively type in some data about your behavior, about your mental state, etc., in order to have it tracked. So within the first category of self-recorded data, what we have is, for example, biomedical data, so such stuff as body temperature, heart rate, etc. By wearing, for example, an Apple Watch or a mobile device, your heart rate will be tracked without any further proactive doing of by yourself. Within the self-recorded category, the second point is behavioral data, which is tracked automatically too. So what we do is we are tracking our steps, we are tracking our behavior on platforms, we are tracking how many times we've been in contact by writing messages, how many times we've opened specific apps on our mobile devices, etc. As well as how many steps we've been making. So for example, if you go from A to B and you need 1,000 steps to go from A to B, those 1,000 steps will be gathered without any additional doing by yourself. The second category is self-reported data. Self-reported data means that there is objective behavioral data. Objective because you don't have to calculate the data, you just have to type in the data. Self-reported means that you go into an app and you type in what you have done, for example, in eating apps or in sports apps. So, for example, if you go to a fitness club, if you make CrossFit, etc., you have to type in how many sets you've made with how many kilograms, how many times, which exercises. The same is with your eating behavior. If you want to track your calories, if you want to track your carbs, your protein, etc., you have to type in the exact amount of grams in your meals. So this is self-reported data, but the calculation is done by the app. So you just have to type in, for example, 200 grams of steak, and it will show you that it's proteins and fat, consisting of proteins and fat. I don't know how many grams. Well, and then there is a second point in the self-reported category, which is more subjective and emotional data. Subjective and emotional data means that there is some kind of what is your state data. How happy are you on a scale from 1 to 10? How good do you feel today on a scale of 1 to 10? With combination of like what is the reason. So for example, in some apps like Happify, you can type in the reason why you have a 5 out of 10 or why you are 9 out of 10. For example, for me it would be spending time with my family. So what we have is self-recorded data, biomedical data, as well as behavioral data is automatically tracked. You don't have to do anything. This data is accessible. You can access this. Then we have self-reported data, objective self-reported data, which is more or less like what sports are you doing, what are you eating, and then subjective self-reported data, which is more or less your emotional data, or what is your mental state right now. Let's provide some examples. Automatically tracked self-recorded data is geolocation data. So with many services like, for example, Facebook, like, for example, Instagram, etc., like Google Maps, you are able to track your geolocation data. So what is possible is that over time you have a kind of where have I been analysis, and which types of places have which type of impact on, for example, my mental well-being, on, for example, my physical well-being. Well, let's talk about some examples of data which are available. Well, first, there's geolocation data. So in such apps like Facebook, like Instagram, like Google Maps, your exact location will be tracked, which means that you will be able to combine the places you visited with, for example, your mood, with, for example, your physical health. Then there is subjective data. I've already mentioned it, like apps like Happify or iMood, for example, where you can self-report your mood, your mental state, if you feel exhausted, if you feel tired, etc. But this is very subjective. Then there is sports data. So you have apps like Fitness Point or Rantastic. Rantastic, you have to start a running exercise. With Fitness Point, for example, you can type in, so self-record what you've done, which exercises, how many kilos, how many sets, how many repetitions, etc. Then there is self-recorded data with communication and web usage data. So for example, your mobile device, I'm using an Apple device, so my iPhone, Facebook, Instagram, etc., web, WhatsApp are all tracking my behaviors. What you will be able to do is to analyze with whom you've been in contact, how many times you've written with somebody, how many times you've been called by somebody. You will be able to analyze which apps you've used how many times. Then, of course, a big topic for self-quantification is your financial data. So your bank, your financial institution will be able to provide you your, let's say, consumption behavior, or let's say a display in data of your consumption behavior, which might be pretty interesting if you think that you are spending too much time with consumption. And then, of course, your health data. So with the introduction of wearables like the Apple Watch, you will be able to track your heart rate variability, track the number of steps, etc., etc. So this is very helpful. Well, next question would be, we now know which data is available, how you might benefit from the data, and specifically how we can categorize the data which will be available. But the question is, which data is necessary for you? Which data might help you in specifics? Because for somebody who is like very experienced in sports, for me, for example, it's not that I need my sports behavior tracked. Sometimes it's good to see that I'm making progress, but I know when I'm making progress. My body is giving me the feedback when I'm making progress. So basically, you have to define which data sets are important, are beneficial for you. So the process would be as follows when it comes to coaching with big data. So when it comes to getting into a coaching relationship with me, first we will define your goals. So we will get into a definition what you want to work on and whether the data available on the market will or is helping or might help you in achieving those goals. Of course, we will take a look at your goal structure. So we will try to have a comprehensive goal structure for you, and we will take a look at which data should be used. So elements like goal structure, comprehensive goal structure, and which data should be used for achieving those goals. Then we will take a look into your reality. So what is available right now? What are you already using? What barriers are in front of you so that you can achieve your goals? We will try to identify influential aspects. So we will try to take a look at what might be a big barrier for you, what might be the point where you might be defeated in your process of goal achieving. Then we will take a look at which data is actually available. So we have defined in the first step which data might be sensible for your goal achievement process, but now we will take a look at, is this data achievable? Is this available? Is this data even already tracked, or do we have to plan some tracking behavior, let's say? So do you have to put input data into applications so that those applications will save it? We will then get into the opportunities, into the chances that you have. So what options do you have based on the data? What are the obstacles if we use the data? What are the obstacles for using the data? This means that, for example, if you want to write down every gram of meal that you eat on a daily basis, an obstacle might be the people who do not want to be next to you, because for them it will be like, oh no, why are you writing it down? Just eat the ice cream, for example. And you will be like, well, I have to write it down because I want to improve myself. So there might be obstacles. People might not be so satisfied with your behavior. And then how can we use the data as an advantage for you? So how can you build, how can you improve yourself by using the data? And of course, then we will get into acting. So we will try to first track the data, to get the data, to then analyze the data, then to use the data to generate insights for you and to get the insights implemented into your life. So, for example, developing habits. Afterwards, we will need to track it. So we will need to gather new data in order to see whether this implemented insights worked for you or not. Well, what are the potential general effects of using the data? Well, basically we try to increase the self-awareness of your progress, and we try to activate your proactive handling of your well-being. So data, in most cases, helps in activating your behaviors which should improve your well-being. It should give you a, let's say, kick in the ass for starting to do something about your well-being and not to wait for the well-being to come to you. Why basically is the data so influential? Well, because it helps cultivating skills and talents. So if you see that some behavior is improving your well-being or your physical health, then probably it will be the kick in your ass to start doing it. As a second one, it helps with the exact timing of when to do something. So if you take a look at the data, you will know that, for example, on Fridays you should improve your, your eating behavior, because on Fridays you are eating very bad stuff and your mood goes down on Fridays. So what you will be able to do is to plan the exact timing and the exact place of interventions of improvement. You will learn much more about yourself. You will learn, for example, for me, I learned that being with people from my family is like the time when where I have the highest indicator of happiness, while at the same time with some members I argue a lot, I discuss things very emotionally, so sometimes I'm pretty stressed, though I'm very happy while being with them. So for me it was like, oh no, I have to stop arguing so much with my family, because it stresses me a little bit. Well, then it helps to find areas of improvement. As we discussed in the beginning, you know best who you are, what you do, how your behavior impacts your life, but you might not know where to improve and how to start. And this is what data does. It provides insights and it teaches self-responsibility. So if you see that if you do A, B comes out and you're happy with B, you will repeat doing A. Data will show you that this works and you will be self-confident that it will work in the future. But this is just my suggestion. Those are just my suggestions. I think that the coaching assistance in the process of self-quantification has a very high value, and this is also my experience, A, by helping others or with helping others, with assisting others, B, with helping myself. So I'm when doing my self-quantification, I'm coaching myself, so I'm using coaching methods on myself to improve the outcome of the coaching process. But the question is, what does science say? Is there any proof that coaching and data helps in self-improvement? Well, science says that self-quantified data and the coach help in personal development. Scientists found out that quantified data will solely, just the self-quantification data will not lead to personal improvement, but the addition of a coach will help. If you want to, I have the articles, the sources, the scientific papers written down in my notes. So if you want to know where or who found it out, who tested this hypothesis, you can write me, you can contact me. Well, the second one is people engage in self-quantification if goals are more comprehensive. So what a coach does is a coach works with his clients on a goal-oriented life, on a goal-oriented progress. And scientists found out that self-quantification is more has a higher effectiveness if goals are more comprehensive. So data usage in itself does not lead to self-improvement, but a coach who can help in defining a goal structure, a comprehensive goal structure, will help in further development. Well, there is another important point, because let's face it, self-quantification means that you will display your life in data. You will be transparent for yourself and for others. This means that it is very emotional. So data for yourself is very emotional, as it is at work. So sometimes people do not want to quantify their work because they know that at some point other people, supervisors, chefs, might find out that their work is not as good as they claim it to be. So it's very emotional when dealing with data, which displays transparently what is happening in your life. And what a coach can do is a coach can help to cope with such anxiety that data will display bad things about yourselves. And it might be an assistance in the process of gathering data. And of course, the other aspect, me as a digital consultant for years, I'm pretty aware of, let's say the biggest solutions on the market. I know how to use them. I know how to, work with data, because I worked especially in big data digital projects with data-driven companies. So I know how to deal with the data, I know how to define the data, I know how to aggregate the data, I know how to transform it into insights, and this is why I am your best choice in this case for coaching with big data and coaching with the help of data, enabling you in the future to increase your well-being. Well, at the end, which questions will be answered if you get in contact with me, if we get into a coaching with data process? Well, you will find out what you care about. You will find out how you can quantify what you care about. You will find out how you can judge via data whether what you care about was achieved by you. You will find out how you can use the quantification in order to develop yourself. and how you can use data in order to get you the right push at the right moment. And you will learn how to interpret data from your self perspective. This all based on an additional service by me, which is I will provide you a fully automated dashboard based on the data sets we defined for your comprehensive goal structures. Well, I have an article on my blog page with approximately 7,000 words where I have described the whole process of self-quantification and coaching based on self-quantification. On myself, on the based on the example of myself. So take a look, read it, and if you want to try it out, so coaching with the help of data, just contact me. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Yes, please write, comment, share, subscribe, whatever content you will find of Coach in Business. And again, thank you very much and have a nice day.